Hi. It's saying unmute myself. Okay. Hello. Rena here. Dog's here somewhere. I don't have one, but they knew to say hi too. I just wanted to share a little bit of this lovely weather. It's only a short time before it becomes pretty sweltering, like a swamp in Florida. So these are the months that I think most people kind of wait for. It's not like a swamp, it is a swamp, respecting that about Florida. But we have these lovely days that are just really nice weather, breezy, sunny. And it was actually kind of rainy this morning, so it also tells you that things can shift. And one thing we know is things are impermanent. So today I thought I would just share a little bit about burnout. It's a real thing. I myself um, have experienced it in large ways in my life, especially as an educator. I think many educators, we have such, we want to give, we have such good intentions, and then we're giving after a while from an empty vessel. And I think it's really important because I actually felt myself touch upon burnout again. You'd think, right? Like, oh, looking at this background or that I practice yoga or something, maybe it's easy to imagine that burnout is something that is not something I'm actively aware of. It is, in fact, and sometimes it actually, as much as I think I'm managing, as a consultant, especially, I work for myself, I work for many others. I have a lot of interests. It can take you down, and it can really take you down. Like it can really affect you. So a few things. One is that if you haven't downloaded the Plum Village app, I highly recommend it. It has really lovely free meditations. You can always donate if you want to, which is a nice thing to do, but it helps to normalize this. And I'll also say that Thich Nhat Hanh, who recently passed away, he shares in one of his teachings that in many of his teachings, we all have seeds of everything in us, meaning if you're a practitioner of yoga or you've been doing these practices, it's easy to imagine that this is going to keep you from ever experiencing difficulty. It's going to keep you safe from that stuff, right? You might think it, others might think it of you, right? Especially if you're teaching it. And to me, one of the most genuine, like just in his integrity of doing as he says, Thich Nhat Hanh says that when his mother passed away, he experienced depression. He has the seed of depression in him, like anyone else. Or when there was a division in Vietnam and he was exiled, depression. He says that. And these are all, of course, connected with burnout. And so when you're starting to feel that, if you feel like I shouldn't be feeling this way, I think one thing is to remember that we all have seeds of happiness, seeds of anxiety, seeds of depression, seeds of true like comedy, joy, laughter. So there are all of these different seeds that live within us. And if you're thinking that I shouldn't be if I'm doing all this to manage it all and it's still not working, it's there. And your body, your mind speak to you. The important thing is just taking time to really pay attention to it. So I'll share that personally for me, this last week was very difficult for many reasons. We have things, personally we're managing, and also just professionally for me, I'm doing a lot of different things for a lot of different places, myself included. And I thought, right, I could do it all, but there was just a point where I was like, I can't. And I had to give myself, a little downtime to acknowledge this is affecting me emotionally and physically. And I have that seed in there. And if I keep watering a seed of that, it's going to only grow and take me over. So, as much as possible, these practices help us not to avoid the suffering, but as Thich Nhat Hanh and many teachers of Eastern practices, yoga, mindfulness, anything, it is to suffer and know how to suffer less, how to suffer well, because these things happen. So I also thought about sharing, and I know this is more of a talky sharing this time, but I'll give you a practice too, is that especially how Western culture has now become sort of like this setting of cultural expectations across the globe, right? And we're trying to reclaim, if like from Eastern practices, like these things are starting to become more popularized and there's this balance. There's a lot of wonderful things in every culture, there's a lot of difficulty in every culture. And in one of them, I find that we have a really hard time knowing how to rest. And I'm not the first person to say this, right? There's probably millions of teachers out there sharing the same thing. And that's something that I also know that I like to like, oh, I need to get it out my feeling by doing a little more workout or something. I want to get it out of my system. That's a good thing. And what does it mean to actually be able to rest? Where you don't have your iPhone with your TV on, with reading a self help book, with journaling, right? You're still doing a lot of thinking about it. And to tune out is kind of like, I think of it as if, like, you know, there's some, let's say there's some clouds and you're flying in a plane, and those little fluffy clouds look really friendly. And they create a lot of turbulence. And you have to kind of get either above them or below them, but you have to sort of go through them in order to find smooth traveling. And I think that same thing happens when we want to rest. We just think, okay, I got to rest and I'm going to feel better. But there's actually a transition through some turbulence. You're probably going to feel uncomfortable at first in rest. Your mind might be going, your body might be even tense, and it really just takes some time to settle into it. And we can be afraid of that. But when you really do have rest, and I can tell you personally, when I actually let myself practice rest, um, I feel a lot better. So that's my inspiration for sharing this with you today. And it also is nice to, when you can with rest, bring things that make you feel happy. And so taking care of flowers, I personally like potted flowers, but I also received these lovely flowers. So cutting them, taking care of them is also a really nice thing to do. And those are simple things in wintertime that can also help your psyche to look around, see something alive and happy, and to take care of it will also remind you to take care of yourself. So if you see the flowers wilting, it might mean you're taking on a lot of stuff. Take a second, take care of the flowers, take care of yourself. So few thoughts there. So here's the practice. This is a resting practice. It's one of my favorites. So I'm taking my blanket. This is like a whatever fleece blanket. I don't know. Take a towel, a blanket. So it's about 1.5 feet wide, and I'm also rolling it. It's kind of taut and squishy. And I'll take the seam-like side to the bottom so that the soft, roundy side is going to be against my back. And I lay this on the floor, and you can play with where you would like it to be for you, but usually at the base of your spine, at your sacrum, is a nice place to be in, and then you can adjust it, and you're just gonna roll back. Oh my goodness, that feels so good. Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm probably off screen a little. That's okay. The point is to notice how it makes you feel, and so my body's adjusting to it. You might want to move it up or down, but basically it is underneath your body, and it opens right along your spine. It opens you up, and it lets your shoulders relax down. It lets there be like a cascading down of the ribs and the lungs. It also softens the curvature. I mean, opens the curvature in your upper back and your thoracic, but I feel myself more grounded in my base. That's what you should feel ideally. The sun's on my face too, which is so lovely. So relaxing down. This will also enhance the breath, the way that you feel the breath in the body. So when I breathe in, I really feel it opening in my chest, and then breathe out. Use that concept of cascading to let it fall out of you.
Let the hands be relaxed, open, palms face up, let the feet relax. Even widen the legs a little bit if you want to. Let the legs and thighs splay out open so that this is the practice of getting in to your rest. Close your eyes if you want. If you're outside and doing this, it's awesome because you start to look right up out into infinity. I swear I did not steal that from the Toy Story. I legitimately am looking up and out, and like it's endless. It's incredible. Up into the sky. And you can continue to practice like this however long you want. So if you feel any tension in your head, you can always place a blanket under your head as well. You can place a blanket under the feet or the underneath your knees. So anything you want to comfort yourself, um, to relax open. The more supported you feel, the more your body is going to learn that it has support, and it'll start in your nervous system to relax. And notice now the turbulence, if there is any at all. Maybe there's not. And if there is, this is where your breath can really help you. And I recommend this too if you have fear of flying, which I used to for a while, but the breathing has really helped me. You breathe in, gently hold the breath, breathe out, let it cascade. You can also make a shh sound as you breathe out. You can do ujjayi breath, which is constricting your throat if you want. Any of them will work. Breathe in, gently hold, breathe out. As many times as you want or need. So for the purpose of this, I'll keep mine shorter because I did this already, but um, when you're coming out of this, you can stay there as long as you want. And I recommend stay, really stay, set a timer. If you download the Plum Village app, they have a bell that you can set a timer on, which is the mindfulness bell. It's beautiful. It's such a lovely, deep, resonant sound of their bowl being invited. So you can use that. And when you're ready, then you can bend your knees and your sacrum might come up off of the floor. Your butt might come up a little bit. You can draw the knees into your chest if you want to. You can even roll a little. It's like a massage with that rolled blanket or rolled towel. And then roll over to one side, whichever side. Stay pregnant, you do left, anyone else right, but really it's up to you. And then
Press up to sit slowly. Reflect on how you feel. It's cool because I started this and the sun was not in my face. And look at that. Something's always going on. Things are always happening, impermanent. That's life. So cool. It can be a thing that we want to resist if we don't like change. And it's also relieving in many ways, too, right? That if you're not feeling well, if you feel burnt out, there are ways to refill your vessel and your body will do it for you. So, my recommendation is to really take rest. If you feel your body talking to you about it, don't let your body get you sick to tell you to rest, to get you physically sick, right? It will say it's going to have you rest. So once you start to hear it, once you start to sense it in your body, rest. If you avoid it, it likely, leads to sickness and your body is going to ask you to rest regardless. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to you. A longer one, a little bit more talky, but hope it was helpful. Thanks so much for practicing with me. I'm Rina, and I will share again when I can. Thank you.